Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff that you might not need to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. But first up, I need to show you what you have been missing. Of course, you might not have been missing it if you already subscribed to the other channel, but this is what's been going on in the background. A lot of baby goats, including this one who gets bottle fed every few hours, which is probably now, which is probably why he's shouting at me. But we have been super busy with all that, and we've got 2 more videos I think on all the kidding. So it might not be DIY, might not be renovation, but if you want to see how a goat's born, then head over to the DIY farm channel, and we did 2, 3 or so videos of these little guys coming out. Some came out easier than others. Another thing I might not have covered on this channel is the truck. The truck played up a little bit in the winter when it was, well, is it still winter? Nah. It was about -8 or something, and it was just cold for a prolonged amount of time, and it was the diesel that was gelling up and waxing up. So what it is, old diesel, might have been a summer batch, and after all that worry of it being something more serious, turned out it was just our diesel getting a little bit frozen. So there's a couple of questions which keep coming up on the channel. One is, what are we going to do when the cabin's finished? What's next? So that's what this video is about, as well as a potential opportunity for someone or some people to work with us on the channel, because there's kind of a position or 2 that might be coming available. So we'll talk about that later on. For now, we're going to go down and measure up for the next project. So I've spoken about it a couple of times, but as you may know, the land of the farm is split between 2 sides of a brook. There's another 4 or 5 acres which we call the secret meadow over there. Now this time of year we don't really need to use it because it's a bit wet underfoot, even though the girls have come down to this side. But it'd be nice to be able to get the sheep over there, and the goats, and of course the pigs. They've finally gone in. Woohoo! Look at them. So when we moved here, there was nothing more than a ladder kind of plonked over at that point there, which was all a bit dodgy. And we need to find a better crossing point and a stronger crossing point. This bridge, although it would be great to have a vehicle bridge, something we can drive trailers and tractors over, it's not going to happen anytime soon. And I have looked at ex-military bridges and Bailey bridges and all sorts of things, but what we need now is something that I can build myself and get in position. So we need to find a crossing point, which I've kind of earmarked a couple of spots. You can see it's quite a distance. I've brought a tape measure, my laser measures out a battery, but we should be able to get a rough idea at least. So for argument's sake, let's say it's going to be here. You can see it is quite a drop. It's probably 3 meters down to the water, so it needs to be built properly. We don't want any accidental mishaps. So we're going to have a clear span. It needs to come in 1 meter or so in on each side to a concrete pad, or maybe even just some concrete sleepers for this footbridge, and then it needs to be a clear span all the way across. Now I've now got a date for the overhead cables to come down. They're coming down mid-April, 17th I think. All those poles, there's probably half a dozen or more poles that are all completely fine. They're all going to get left here. They will certainly be a potential option for the footbridge. Otherwise I'll just buy some structural timber that a little bit like the purlins I bought recently, which were I think 9 by 3 inch or whatever, 225 by 75, and I could order something similar to that and use 2 or 3 of those across here. Last year we had a guy come down from the Environment Agency or Council Flooding, I can't remember, just talked through our plans, and he was really up for everything we suggested. He said, yeah, no, that's fine, it's better than letting the livestock through the water all the time, because obviously that's eroding the bank back there. So it would be good to get this in. Right, this is actually a little bit further than I'd want. There's a little bit of a closer spot over the other side, but from here we should be able to get an idea of what we're dealing with. I have no idea how this is going to work. Right, say measuring kind of a rough halfway point to the bank and then in 750 to a metre. We're looking at about a 7 metre bridge, and the clear span in the middle is probably about 5.5 metres. So it's a fair distance. So my question to you guys is, what construction would you make? I think for this footbridge, the heaviest thing it's going to take is a row of sheep, or potentially a small quad, but probably not. It's just to create a strong deck structure, which would be 3 kind of timber members going across on the concrete pads, handrails like you'd have on a deck, and then board it out. So that would be the simplest option. It's not going all Brunel on it. I mean, there's no wires or cables or anything kind of angled or bracy on about that, but it could be the best option. Of course, the other option is to go with steel, but if I want to get this done in a couple of days, rather than spending on some really chunky RSJs, I think it makes sense just to go with timber. Back! Get back! Oh! The solar electric is not powerful enough. Go on! Wait, Max, back! Here. Yeah. Silly sheep. Serve you right. This solar energizer is finally getting enough whack behind it now with this bit more daylight. I put it onto wild animal mode, which is meant for keeping wolves and wild boar out. It's just a more frequent zap, but also, you might not have met Jeffrey. Jeffrey's the new farm mascot or something like that. He has absolutely no purpose on the farm apart from looking cool and being friends with the dog. That's your sister, mate. Therefore, if you've got any tips on bridge building, it might be that we hold out and use the poles up there, but otherwise, something simple. I don't want to use a lorry chassis. I don't want to buy a used bridge. I just need to build it from scratch. Something simple, safe, that we can walk back and forwards with a gate either side to stop access from the animals when they're grazing either side. Then we've got a significant amount of grading and relaying of gravel and tracks and driveways. So hopefully that will get done in spring as well. And then ideally getting a concrete floor into the Dutch barn, because it's going to make a lot of sense in the future when we've got more heavy duty racking and things like that. If we can have a flat, stable floor to anchor stuff to, but also to keep vehicles in and out. When we're working on vehicles, it's going to be nicer than straw and rubble. Anyway, let's talk job opportunities. This is going to be a bit of a skim over overview of what may or may not become reality in the next few months. We're at a point now where we're spread rather thin. Joe and I work full-time on the channel, on the media, and also some other work behind the scenes. And we feel that actually it might be handy to have someone who can help us with the media side of things. We can film and we can just about edit ourselves, but there's always a certain amount of post-production that can happen after the video is created, and short clips taken from that and shared, and reels and all that sort of stuff on social media, which would be great to have someone that could work. That is a very remote task, so it could be someone almost anywhere, but it'd be great for it to be someone who understands the channel, knows the whole ethos behind everything we do, and just has a little bit of prior knowledge of who we are and what we're up to. Now, the second position is one that has only come about quite recently, and it may or not be possible to fill. However, before we look locally, there's an option for one of you guys or someone you may know to work here on the farm for 2 or 3 days a week even, helping with all sorts of things. Now, that is going to be someone who can work alone but also with us on projects, but also someone who may or may not have an interest already in agriculture or growing, market garden, anything like that. There's so much diversity going on here already. Someone with a bit of a passion for any one of those things would be great. we're looking to grow our veg and small market garden type setup. So, you know, there's things like polytunnels to put up, irrigation to put in. There's a whole host of hedging, fencing, tree planting, and all that sort of good stuff going on. And if we try and do everything ourselves, I think, well, there's just not enough hours in the day, unfortunately. I seem to try and find as many hours as I can. And many people wonder how we do get it done. But actually, you know, you're seeing the highlight reel on these videos. It's still a push to get everything we do done in a short amount of time. Anyway, we will put together some sort of job description for those 2 roles, and we will be sending out probably on our mailing list. So if you want to find out about that, then subscribe on the website. Joe sends out a newsletter every once in a while, and we're going to try and do that a bit more regularly. And any news of those 2 positions would be on there. Also, we have a growing amount of produce being produced on the farm now. So we've got our pork boxes, we've got a huge amount of sausages and different flavours we're working on, and we are just about to have a load more processed. So there is scope there for people to order and collect from the farm, or we can work something out if it's a large order. We're not at the moment, we're not looking to do courier sent meat boxes. Might be something for the future, might even be something for a new recruit to manage, but we will have pork and lamb coming off the farm very soon, or hogget I should say. So they will be again sent out in the newsletter, and we will probably then arrange for a single date pickup, or maybe an option of 2 Saturdays to come and pick everything up from the farm. We're in Gloucestershire. Apart from that, we can send out all the info once you've ordered. And then what happens after the bridge? Well, we will be spending probably 2 days a week on farmy stuff for now. So we've got a huge no-dig garden to put in. I'll give you a sneak peek of that because it probably will be all on the DIY farm channel, but it's going to be an interesting one. We did, I think, 4 tons of compost last year. We've gone bigger this year. So we had 18 tons of compost dropped with a tractor and trailer recently. So there's an awful lot of shoveling. Well, we've got the tractor for it, fortunately, but cardboard to go down first, a whole host of beds, some hedging around the outside first, and then hopefully a couple of tons of wood chips soon to create some paths in between them. The usual sort of no-dig approach, I would say, but it'd be great to get that down. We're going to start all of our veg off in trays in a polytunnel, which is not yet ordered or here yet. So we're in the process of building up the relationships with a bunch of community kitchens, food banks, all sorts of great places where we can get food from the farm, shared out, and let as many people as possible enjoy that. And all that becomes possible by the support of the channel. Obviously we try and break even, but at the end of the day, this is not designed, this farm, to be a huge profit-making enterprise. We are very, very fortunate that we can compensate some of the running costs by making videos like this. It goes a little way towards keeping pigs fed. But if we can, we'd just love to link in with more community projects and things like that. Also potential new restaurant locally where there might be a chance to work with them on a few things. But really it's all about linking the farm with others and getting people on the farm, but also taking produce from the farm to other people. But look, the inside might be going in the right direction and looking rather livable now, but there's still a lot to do outside. Gutters and cladding needs to happen, sewage treatment plant, and all the sort of less glamorous things, but things that definitely need to happen before this is anywhere near habitable. So fear not, there's a few weeks left in this beast, and then we will just be super excited to park that. Well, it's not moving. Park that and move on with the other projects. There is a little sneak peek of just some of the things we've got planned over the next few weeks. We've got a whiteboard at home, which is just exhausting to even look at, but it's going to happen, some of it at least. So if you haven't subscribed to the farm channel, then you can do so down below. Also, if you want to join the newsletter that Joe's going to be sending out, especially if you're interested in the potential roles that may come up on the farm soon. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself. And we'll see you next time. I'm going to go bottle feed a goat.